Welcome to Eric Unfiltered. I am your host, Eric Dickinson, where I am always caffeinated, medicated, and never regulated. Here I discuss news, politics, relationships, and a whole lot more. I am an unfiltered Gen Xer from Connecticut. Do you like inappropriate jokes, naughty memes, and late-night drunken posts on social media? If you do, then give me a follow on X at Eric Not Sorry or on Facebook and Truth Social at Eric Unfiltered Podcast. I also post there when new episodes are released. Thank you for checking me out. Now let's get on with the show. Hey, I am still alive and bitchin'. Have you all missed me? I know it's been a minute. I apologize. I will get into that in a quick sec. I just want to say thank you to those that have reached out to me to ask me if everything is all good and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm good. Life has just been crazy. I know I have not been here for a minute. I will be covering something, I am sure. But before I get into whatever it is I'm going to cover, I had to pause to adjust my mic because that's, what I have to do. Anyways, so thank you to all two of you. Yes, two of you, you know who you are, that reached out to me over the last, 5 weeks of my absence. 4 weeks? I can't even remember when I recorded. If you are a first-time listener, thank you for tuning in. Real quick, real brief. So if you are unaware, and look, my life has been such a whirlwind. I do not even know what I have spoken about recently. I don't know. So real quick, if you were unaware, early October, I got the unfortunate news that my father had a heart attack, and in a few days later, he passed. Yes, that was severely unexpected. On the same day that he had his heart attack, my wife and I were notified that our cat of 16 years, her name was Gray, was diagnosed with a terminal, severe, aggressive form of cancer. Gray was my wife's little shadow. She was amazing. And so literally three and a half weeks after my father, we had to send Gray over the Rainbow Bridge. So yeah, that's been fun. No. Also, there's been some other changes in my life that I will not be getting into, but needless to say, it's been kind of a whirlwind. I don't know if I announced here, pardon me, but I think I did. But if I did not, I have been attending broadcasting school. So between school and work and life and, grocery shopping and laundry and adulting, life has been a bit chaotic. So thank you to the two of you that reached out. I am good. I have my moments. I have my days, as you would expect. But I'm doing all right. Things are just... I am so tired. That's what it comes down to. I am so tired. Also, I've had a friend of mine that has been... she had a hiccup in her life recently, in a rough time, so I was doing my best to help her out. So, yeah, my mind's been kind of clouded. So, again, thank you for reaching out. All right, enough of me. Enough. Shut up. All right, I know it's kind of old news now a little bit, but one thing that hit the headlines. Now, again, I literally did no research for this. I know. My instructor, what up, Joe? He would be very, very disappointed. But I'm just going off of memory because I'm not... What I want to talk about, I'm talking about SNAP. I want to bring that up. Again, I know it's kind of a little bit old news, but there's something that came into my mind throughout that whole issue that I don't know. The people I listen to, I never heard them bring it up. So, okay, if you're unaware, which, okay, SNAP, I forget what it stands for. Ultimately, it's like a welfare benefit. It's a benefit. It's like a food stamp, I guess, or the new name for food stamp, something like that. All right, so because the government shut down, SNAP benefits were not going to be going out for the month of November. People kind of freaked the fuck out, just a little. Now, a great follow on social media, I know definitely on X, is Snap of TikTok. You definitely want to go there because regardless of where you stand politically, I know where I stand, and if you are a longtime listener, you know where I stand. Um, but regardless, you have one side of the political aisle when the announcement came out that the benefits were not going out. You had one side screaming, you want children to starve, you want people to starve to death, stuff like that. And then you had on the other side, well, get a job, you loser. Okay, all right. I'm gonna take a step back here for a minute. Me personally, I do lean towards the get a job, you lazy ass kind of side. However, as I have stated before, I understand that my neighbor, my fellow man falls on hard times unexpectedly. You know, spouse dies, right? Loss of job, uh, child gets diagnosed with cancer, right? We all fall on hard times. Me personally, and I know my friends, we don't have a problem helping out our fellow neighbor. We don't. However, there does come a time when they have to take care of themselves. It's called adulting. It's what we all kind of have to do. Now, granted, yes, and I've stated here before, there are individuals that are adults that genuinely cannot work for whatever reason. Maybe it's a physical or mental ailment, whatever. I'm not judging. I'm just stating a fact. There are some people that just can't produce in society. It is what it is, right? I don't have a problem helping those people out. I don't. What I have a problem with, and there are a lot of people, and it's not the majority of the people on benefits, but it is not a 0%. And again, you can go to a snap of snap of TikTok. I'm having a cold here, so bear with me. I wanted to record today. I'm suffering through the sniffles. Sorry, I'm going to pause here. All right. Sorry, had to pause for a moment. Okay. So, if you go there, you do see a lot of videos of a lot of people that are like, well, if I don't get my benefits, I'm going to do this. Rob people, steal from the stores, shoplift, and so on. All this air quotes stereotype activity, whether it's real people saying real things and actually meaning it or acting for internet likes. I don't know, but it is alarming. However, again, I also understand on the other side of the political spectrum of, okay, even if both sides were to sit down and agree that yes, benefits should be reduced, the lists should be investigated, is there fraud? Sure, but you cannot just pull the carpet out from underneath people like what was going to happen in November. So, okay, fair enough. You know, because there are people out there on Snap that legitimately need it, that legitimately buy nutritious, healthy food for themselves and their children with it. I know that. Again, the percentage isn't zero, right? And when they're told, sorry, nothing is coming, they genuinely freak out. And not threaten to resort to shoplifting and shit, but they freak out. They're like, oh my God, I got to call my sister. I wonder if somebody, they can't make it meet. And I feel bad for them. I do. But the big question, it was, in my opinion, this is, we should do. My thing was, okay, time out, guys. You just voted, New Yorkers, and I think in Washington State. Don't quote me on that one, but I know there is 2. But New York just elected a communist. Now, what does that mean? The government likes to control everything, more than they already do. So, if the federal government, now follow me here. Again, I'm a little medicated this morning. If the federal government has a shutdown for whatever reason, whatever the wedge issue is this month, people that rely on government in order to eat, in order to feed their children, they can't get money. They can't eat. They can't feed their kids because the government shut down. So in New York City, they elect a commie, and commies love control. So, SNAP recipients, you were freaking out because you weren't going to be able to eat. And then the people of New York wanted more of that government control. Not just at the federal level, but more at the local level. That's brilliant. Again, I think it happened in Washington State. I don't know if it was Seattle or whatever. That beautiful state from what I have seen, but man, it's Rand Lake, Connecticut. Shithole. Anyways, another commie was elected there. This is communism. If you cannot take care of yourself, if you cannot modern day hunting, get a job, but 1,000 years ago, if you didn't go and hunt a boar, you and your family starved to death. If you don't have a job today, you don't have money to go get food, so your family might starve to death. Or perhaps you do hunt today and you can feed your family that way. There's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But you get my point. Then the numbers started coming out. The numbers of the cost. And I'm going, wait a minute. Why are there so many people in America that can't eat? They can't take care of themselves. I looked up the numbers. It's astonishing. There is like 330-something million people in the country. 12.3% of the population is on SNAP. They're on food assistance. That's just SNAP, folks. That's just one benefit. That does not count for energy assistance, rental assistance, anything else. That's just over 12% of our population. That is insane to me. Why would you want more government in control of that? That's what communism is. People starve to death. Why would you want the government to have more control over where you get your food? That is why I'm on the side of go out and get a job. But I also agree, yes, you can't just pull the rug out from under people. And that's unsustainable. But there are a lot of people that do take advantage of this. And through the years, I recall hearing people say, we need these illegals here because they do the jobs Americans don't want to do. Well, I disagree. And I have said for years, the illegals are doing the jobs Americans don't have to do. So, since President Trump is deporting many illegals, then maybe some of these people that are able-bodied and could work, maybe even around a child's school schedule, should be, forced to do some of these newly vacated jobs. I do know locally here in Connecticut, I believe in Newington, that there are some positions probably available at a car wash. If you know, you know. But that was my whole point through this whole thing. Yes, I think that SNAP and other benefits should be reduced. I think people should be forced to get employment. I think there's a lot of loopholes that should be closed. But yes, I agree. You shouldn't be able, you can't just pull the carpet out from under people. But my biggest point was, why is there so many people on benefits? Why is there so many? This is America. I know that the economy goes up and down, and there is an influx of jobs, and then there's not. I get it. But almost everywhere I go, I see help wanted, apply within. I'm seeing it everywhere. But the problem is they don't pay enough. It's easier to sit on your ass. I mean, You never advance in life, but it's easier. That's a problem. Government handouts should stop being handouts and be more of a hand up. If both political sides would stop shouting and sit down and calmly have a discussion, maybe we could all benefit. Reducing taxes because there's less leeches. People, as Joe Rogan would say, are being less losers. Because sure, maybe you're just a dishwasher somewhere, but in 3 months, you're a cook. Who knows? I don't know. My medication's wearing off. I think I've been ranting a while. I need another cup of coffee. So I will end that segment there. What say you? What is your solution? Would you end all benefits, just tough shit? Would you give more? What do you think your solution is to reduce the 12.3% of the population of the air quotes wealthiest country on the planet? How would you do it? How if you were king for a day, or queen for a day, what would you do to solve all of this? What would you do? Realistically, what would you do? Moving on. All right, this next story is here locally in Connecticut. Kinda. Also attached to Florida. What up, Florida? I wish I was kind of in Florida right now. It's getting cold here in Connecticut. But this story is here locally in Connecticut. And as I typically do, I did a search on Grok. So it's an AI search. And as I always say, take it with a grain of salt. But I looked this up because I heard a little snippet. And I believe Mark from West Hartford posted about it. But don't quote me on that. Again, life's been a little crazy. My brain's a little foggy. But I saw this little snippet about Middletown. Hey, what's up, Middletown? I like Middletown. Middletown's a nice town. Some parts. Like most places. Nah, well, I'm just playing. Nah, Middletown, you're good. All right, let's see here. In Middletown, Alberto Vasquez Matos, the superintendent of Middletown Public Schools in Middletown, Connecticut, has been put on paid administrative leave by the Middletown Board of Education. This action followed a special meeting where board members discussed his employment status in light of a DUI arrest earlier this year. Wow. Yes, I do like coming on here and bashing educators and other idiots that are around children that kind of foobar in their life. This person is the superintendent of schools in Middletown, and he was busted for a DUI. How does that make you feel? I don't know how that makes me feel. How does that, parents, how would that make you feel if the superintendent of the schools your children attend was arrested for a DUI? Would you be like, no big deal? Or would you want him suspended or fired? I will continue reading. I'm just putting that out there. All right, arrest circumstances. Vasquez Matos was arrested in Florida in July of 2025 for driving under the influence. He refused a breathalyzer test, which led to a 1-year suspension of his driver's license. He pled not guilty to requested a new court date after missing the initial hearing. Interesting. But again, that was in Florida. Maybe he was back in Connecticut. Okay. All right. The board's response. The board held a 3-hour executive session during this special meeting to review his performance and evaluation. Following this, they voted to place him on leave. Board Chair Jill Cardella emphasized the board's responsibility for oversight, stating, Middletown citizens have entrusted the elected Board of Education with proper oversight of the school district and its superintendent. The next steps are the board plans to meet again on November 16th to appoint an acting superintendent In the interim, central office administrators will handle the additional duties. So, he has obviously, as I have stated, he has been suspended. So, what say you? He refused a breathalyzer. So, yeah. He, yeah. He fucked up. Right? He screwed up. But he's, air quotes, right, an educator. He is supposed to be an example. The way I look at it personally, when it comes to educators of any kind, whether they're a teacher, a special ed teacher, a paraprofessional, I don't care if they work in the office, they work around children. They should set a good example. You know, all adults, for the most part, we swear, right? We use foul language. In fact, there's somebody I'm attending school with that doesn't, which is unusual, so I have to be a nice guy. But anyways, what up, David? But when you're around children, you watch your language, right? You watch what you show somebody, like a meme on your phone. At least you should. I don't know what Bob Duff might do. But again, if you know, you know. But again, these adults are supposed to set an example. I feel the same way with like law enforcement. Like, okay, a police officer has a day off. Police officer wants to have a few beers with his buddies cooking on the grill, go for it. But if he wants to have, 6 beers in an hour and then go drive to the package store, no, dude, what are you doing? And if that individual gets arrested, then yeah, you're supposed to be setting an example. Whenever I see that, like an officer arrested for a DUI, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I just saw an expose about some cop. I want to say it was Chicago or Detroit. I don't know. The dude was caught on his own body cam smoking meth in the police cruiser. Not like once. Like, what? Again, I think a lot of people hold certain jobs like law enforcement and education. We hold those people in higher regard. Like, you're supposed to be an example. Now, I don't have a problem with the superintendent being on vacation, having a few drinks. Good. Hell yeah. Have a good time, dude. But you should also know I shouldn't get behind the wheel, because if I get pulled over, this is going to be bad. You're not just Joe, just the average Joe citizen. You're a superintendent of schools. That would be a bad look for the schools. I don't know. Now, me personally, to answer my own question from earlier, because I'm curious what you out there think. What would you do if, like, you had the power? Like, would you send him to counseling? Would you fire him? What would you do? Me personally, let me. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to think about this, because I can't give you a question and not answer it. That would be a dick move, right? All right, give me a sec. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Not knowing any kind of policies regarding school policy, town policies, or union policies, or any kind of that legal stuff, I can't take that into account with my answer of what I would do. So, with that said, or notwithstanding, I would, as the board did, I would look at his record. Does he have a list of complaints? Does he have a list of compliments? Is he good at his job? Does he have any other issues? Has he had any other arrests? Does he have a prior history with this? Does he have a history? Does he genuinely have a drinking problem? Was this just a night out, having fun, and screwed up, made a bad decision? Okay. Or does he genuinely have a problem? Let's see. If he does not do jail time and he was out and was available to go back to work, I think if everything he was clean, I would want him to seek. I would probably push for like counseling. Put him like on I don't know, like a 1 year like probation. So like if he ever gets arrested again or violates his court, whatever, then you're done. Maybe I would do that. Um, but who knows? Behind closed doors, maybe the guy's a jerk and they're looking for a way to get rid of him. I don't know. I'm just answering what I would do. I don't know the guy. I don't know all the circumstances. I'm going to try to be a nice guy. I'm going to try to be a nice guy and give him the benefit of the doubt. That's what I would do. But again, I don't have kids. I don't have kids in school. So I don't know. I don't have that link in my brain like a parent does. So if you're a parent and you found out the superintendent of your child's school was arrested for DUI, how would that make you feel? Would you want them suspended? Would you want them kicked out? What would you want? You let me know. I already gave you the socials in the beginning. You know what it is. You can find me. Let me know. Send me a DM or an email or whatever. All right, on to the next. Okay, this one again, I'm going to go off of memory because it does happen to still coincide with the whole SNAP benefit, but it was here at home when the whole SNAP benefit thing happened and benefits weren't going to be coming through. Governor Lamont here in Connecticut said, "Don't worry, folks, I've got you." And then surprisingly, a few days later, he announces he's running for re-election. Shocker. Shocker. Didn't see that coming. Giggity. But it got me thinking, Connecticut. It got me thinking, how are the roads? Are the roads good? No. Winter's coming and the roads already suck. So I can't wait. I can't wait for the rain to fall into those potholes and then freeze overnight. Oh, the roads are beautiful, aren't they, here in Connecticut? How's your taxes? Taxes good? Yeah, no. Things are expensive here in Connecticut, right? Okay, so before the government shut down, before the federal government shut down, Connecticut was talking about buying a WNBA team. That's right. A team that well, I've never gone and watched them, but the Connecticut Sun, I guess, was for sale or is for sale or something like that. But my taxes, I don't know about you, but my taxes are high. My grocery bills are high. My everything is high. Yeah, everything is high. But the state of Connecticut has the money to buy a WNBA team. Now, I'm not going to argue whether it's a good investment or not. I just question it as a taxpayer going, hey, could I have some of my money back, please? And if not, could you patch up the holes around town? That would be great. No? Awesome. Good talk. Thanks. And then the whole SNAP thing happened. And then, as I stated, Governor Lamont, the state of Connecticut, said, "We got you." They said that they were going to not only cover the shortfall, but anything that was cut off due to the shutdown. Where is this money coming from? And if there is so much extra money, why are we not getting any of this? Why are taxes not being cut? Why is the gas tax not getting cut? We all know why. I know why. I'm asking stupid questions. I know I'm asking stupid questions, but I want all of you to ask the same stupid questions. Hey, Lamont, you're running for governor for the third time. We have all this excess money, but Connecticut ranks really low on a lot of lists that they should not want to be on the bottom of. What are you doing? How are you helping us? And if the state of Connecticut has all this extra money to cover SNAP benefits and all of this other stuff, and ponder buying a WNBA team? Do you think you could help out, I don't know, the people who live here? I don't know. Just a crazy idea. I don't know. I would like to one day get a tax bill and not need lubricant. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying really, really hard. But it's kind of tough. This is just another example of one of the reasons why I hate this state so much. I see their crime is high, taxes are everything in this state. I mean, there is good things about Connecticut. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I know I dog Connecticut a lot, but it's for good reason. I mean, it deserves it. It's a beautiful state ran by fucking morons. But Connecticut has a lot to offer. But if you can afford it, and, well, we can't. But the state can. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just one thing that really caught my ear. It was like, wait a minute. You like a month ago were talking about buying a WNBA team. Now you're going to be covering this. But then you talked about, not too long ago, I heard rumblings about bringing tolls back because the state needs the money. Wait a minute. The state needs the money, but you have the money. What? Can I buy a bag off of you? Because I'm kind of short right now. Because I would like to be in the stratosphere with you, homie. Let's toke up together, because make it make sense. Make it make sense. I know there's a lot of caveats, and I'm missing a lot of it, but I'm just wanted to point out that was one of the things that caught my ear was, not too long ago we're talking about tolls and other things to generate revenue because the state is suffering, but then we have all this surplus. I wish I had a surplus. The only thing I have a surplus of is rage and depression. and bills, yes, lots, and laundry, of course, because that never friggin' ends. Oh yes, wasn't the state just recently, like real recently, talking about how they have a hard time or they don't have the money to cover the retirements and the pensions of state employees? Wasn't there something about that? If I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do remember hearing something about that, where so much of the state's revenue goes to covering that. So, okay, we don't have the money to cover your retirement, Connecticut employees, but we can buy a basketball team, and we can afford to give money that is owed to you by contract to people that never earned a thing. How does that make you feel? All right, I'm done rambling. I'm sorry, this episode I know is not my best. I appreciate you tuning in. I promise it'll get better. I just need a really, really, really good night's sleep, which is another thing that's come up because another story. So hopefully Wednesday I get what I need and I can have a good night's sleep and bring you a more action-packed episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the episode, you know what to do. Give it a like, share, follow, and all that internet shit. You know what to do. So again, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep being you.